You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and this is a conversation that features one of Brisbane's preeminent musicians, Mr. Ben Eli. Ben is a member of a band called Regurgitator. They've been going, as you'll hear through the conversation, for almost a quarter of a century. The purpose of the conversation is to promote their upcoming brand new album, the new release. It is called Headroxx. Let's have a listen to what Ben has to say. Here we go.
I've been doing a bit of rehearsal for the tour, and also been painting an art show for a gallery in Hobart for the end of the year. So,
Sweet, yeah.
Working on a few things.
Cool, yeah. Well,
busy.
Yeah, I can imagine, mate. Look, you and I had a moment together. I'll share this with you, and I'll cast your mind back to 2012. So you and I were getting off a plane at Los Angeles from Brisbane, and we both got asked to take off our shoes and socks, and I think that was about it.
Yes.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And afterwards, mate, we had a good chat, and you bought me a coffee, and I'll always remember that. So I owe you a coffee or a beer if we ever have an opportunity to catch up again.
I remember that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, you were on your way to New York as well, I think, as I was as well, because I got some mates over there. They're Australian, but they were at New York at the time, and I was going over there to sort of catch up, and I was also buying some guitars from Mandolin Brothers and Guitar Centre. Yeah, that's it.
I remember that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And how's it going up the coast? You up the sunny coast, eh?
Well, I commute between Northern Gold Coast, which is where I'm at right now, and the sunny coast.
Okay.
Yeah. So
right.
I was working for Telstra, I think, when I spoke to yourself back then, and I left about 12 months or so to pursue music, holus bolus, just trying to make a go of it. So where I've ended up now is I'm at Bond Uni studying a creative arts degree at the ripe old age of 40.
Okay, cool. That's cool. I know that. I know that course. Yeah, I've done that.
Oh, cool.
Down there once before. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. No, so it's. Yeah. I've been doing lots of interviews and stuff. I've always tried with the music, but I wouldn't say I haven't. I've been a covers musician. I don't know whether you remember the conversation we had 5 or so years ago, 6 years ago, if you can believe it was now. But playing a lot of covers, just see if any session work came up, but nothing that ever paid the bill. Put it that way. The bills, put it that way.
Yeah, right. It's a slog, eh? Yeah,
mate, it is. But you're a success story. It must be said. I remember further back to 1996 when I first heard the tracks off To Plang. And just being blown away at the time, especially, you didn't have a lot of songs that were on radio or a band who was successful, who was mixing so much music together. But you guys came along and you really changed the game, I think, and you opened up a lot of doors for a lot of musicians and a lot of bands to, I wouldn't even call it experimentation, but it's the ability to mix things together and make it work.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's kind of started as a side project and just started out as a bit of fun. And I don't know, just people seem to get into it. And it was just kind of like a muck around sort of, like a bit of an experiment, really, that just sort of seemed to go fairly well. We just kind of went with, it's a funny thing how it sort of come to what it is now.
Well, I think I was reading an interview with you, I can't remember what publication it was, my apologies, but you were talking about there's been a generational shift, and you've got the children of fans from back in the day and people that have kept up with you that are coming along to the shows now. So, mate, that's what happens to Kiss. You know, Kiss and Metallica are having that happen to them, but now the Gurge is on that list. Yeah,
it's kind of like that. I mean, it's funny because we went through a phase of, playing to young people, and then we got older and we were playing to older people, and now we're sort of playing to a lot of young people. And I asked a few of them, I was like, what are you doing here? We used to listen to you with our parents when we were kids, and now we're old enough to see you play. So here we are, just turned 18, so I can come out to the club and stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty funny.
And you've moved back to Brisbane, I understand, as well.
Yeah, loving it.
Great, yeah. It's changed a lot in the 20 or so years you've been out, hasn't it?
It certainly has. Yeah, it's been really great being back. Actually, I'm really loving it. Yeah, really great people, a lot of really interesting artists, and great venues and places like Powerhouse and a lot of good music venues, and it's got great galleries and stuff. They used to have all that stuff. So yeah, I'm quite liking it.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I long have felt, probably being a little bit biased, but you guys are a part of this Powderfinger. There are so many wonderful bands, Scream Feeder, that have come from Brisbane, particularly at a time when there wasn't a lot of outlets for music to be played in Brisbane, and it was obviously very hard to play music live and keep an audience attractive and attracted to your music and going. But these days, there's just so many venues that are available. And I'm not for a moment. Yeah, I'm not suggesting that the music's any less than what it was when you guys were at your starting out or what have you, but it's just a lot easier nowadays, isn't it? There are a lot more outlets.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a lot more. Like, I remember we lived next door to the girls who started the zoo, and at that time, they started the zoo because they actually were in a band, those girls, and they went, we need to open a venue so we can have a place where where we can all play. And that's kind of primarily why that venue opened. And, that kind of kicked off a big valley kind of scene, which was pretty great at the time. And when that started, it was like, oh, wow, finally we've got a place to play. It was really great.
Yeah, and the move down to Melbourne, mate, was that a design, by design, if you like, so that you could be closer to where a lot more of the action was in the Australian music industry?
I kind of moved to Sydney first for a girl, and then ended up having kids and stuff, and then we moved to Melbourne after that. So, initially it was, just for that reason. I don't think I would have gone otherwise.
Yeah, gotcha.
I quite like the city. It's good.
Yeah, I love the valley.
It's really good.
Yeah, I often say to people, I think Brisbane's a very gentle city compared to Sydney and Melbourne. And by that,
of course, yeah.
You know what I mean, don't you? In that I've taken drunk people home after gigs because I don't, and it's not just me that does that. I'm not trying to say that I'm better than anybody else by doing that, but you feel more comfortable doing that, knowing, to be honest, mate, that the person you're taking home isn't going to sort of wake up in some drunken stupor and try to stab you or something. And you just feel a greater sense of kinship in this city compared to, say, Sydney or Melbourne, in my view.
I think so. I think Melbourne, I think, has got a very big, art scene. It's very supportive, but there's just so many artists, and I guess because there's so many, it does feel a little bit competitive due to that. But I don't feel like there's that competition here, which is really nice. It's kind of, everyone does feel fairly supportive.
Indeed, yeah. So the new album, mate, I've had Paul sent me over a copy of it. So I've had a couple of listens to it. Awesome stuff. I'm not just saying that. I don't know how you guys, yourself and Quan, keep the creative juices as vital as what they actually are. So that'll be my first question about the new album, mate, is it's a cracker. So
thanks.
How have you guys managed to keep going as strongly as you are?
Well, it was kind of really thrown together. We've been a bit busy, actually. We probably should have spent more time on it. But we just got together last year because we hadn't done one in so long because Quan's he's got a new family with some new kids and stuff, little kids. Yep. And so we hadn't had much time to really record and get together, and he was living in Hong Kong, and then he finally moved back, and then our manager booked his tour, and then I just went, we should probably do a record for the tour, but last year we got together and said, do we have any songs? And we kind of played each other demos, and through all of the demos we found out that there was this kind of common theme about kind of being a bit anxious and kind of crazy and coping with, the pressures of the modern world.
Yep.
But with the family as well, and being kind of middle-aged and stuff. And so I guess all of those
can relate to that, yeah.
Issues come up in the lyrics, and that's why we called it Headroxx, like it's a head fuck kind of thing, like living in the modern world. And that's why the title of the record was named that. And early on in the piece, I asked this artist that I really like, who I follow on Instagram. His name's Ben Adams, but his Instagram name's Freak Street. And I said, you reckon you could do an album cover? And then he kind of designed this real crazy, mutant kind of Japanese 50s horror kind of fluoro album cover. It was really great, but also really crazy. And we loved it. So it kind of, then the album cover ended up influencing the songs and the mixes and stuff. So we tried to make the songs as strange as we could to suit the cover.
Yes.
That's never happened before, but that was
so the art inspired the music. Yeah, cool. And the art,
it kind of did a little bit there. Yeah.
The artwork, I've actually got a copy of it. Paul sent it across, and it reminds me a lot of those T-shirts we used to buy as kids. You know, the brand Bad Billies. Reminds me of the graphic associated with that. In a good way, I'm saying that. It's a bit of nostalgia attached to it for me. But yeah, it's very detailed, and it's the sort of thing that'll look wicked on a T-shirt.
Yeah, it's really detailed and it's pretty crazy looking, huh? It's cool.
So you got some shows coming up. You got a lot of shows coming up nationally as well?
We're doing a tour. Yeah.
What's that like these days? With you mentioned the commitments with family, and how do you guys?
It gets really tricky actually. It's kind of hard because I guess with family and kids and stuff, we kind of go to bed a bit earlier. So the whole thing of staying up late to do a gig is, I don't know. It's kind of a bit challenging. But I guess once we get going on the tour and get rolling, it should be fine. But just the first couple of nights, it should be a bit tricky.
Yeah. Are you bringing you've obviously still got Pete as your drummer, is that correct?
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's good. He actually, did you hear that song that he sang on the record? Did you hear that one?
I've listened to it only twice, so I'm yet to tell me which song it is actually, and I'll make a note of it.
It's a weird kind of hard. You wouldn't miss it. It's a really strange one.
Okay, no, song number 6, got it.
Yeah. That's he sang on that, so I kind of feel like that's the best song on the record. It's so out there.
I didn't know he sang. There you go.
Well, you do. Listen to it. It's not really singing, but it's
right there. You go.
It's definitely something. It's good. Yeah.
Bit of a tangent question for you. I remember when you guys did the Band in a Bubble, I think it was called, back in the day for Channel V or MTV, one of the two.
Yep, Channel V, yep.
And you had Jabber in there with you, if I recall correctly. So I'm drawing on a 15-year-old memory or so. But are you guys still mates to this day, or was that one of those experiences where you're in such close quarters?
Yeah, we see him. He was always kind of a friend of mine.
Yep.
And my partner at the time was working with him, and I was kind of pretty close to him, pretty friends with him.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he struggled. I don't think he really wanted to be in there. I don't think he had a great time being in the bubble. But yeah, that was a treat. Definitely an experience.
I think you were one of the first bands to do that, really. I was Googling not that long ago just to see if anybody else had done a similar concept in Times Square or something, but I couldn't find any, and I'm sure somebody's done something similar, but you were pioneers in that way as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was definitely a strange thing to do. And I guess we were just... that kind of idea stemmed back from when we did... after we did 2 playing, we went and recorded it in Bangkok, and that was such a surreal experience. We all sat around and had a kind of powwow about what we would do to do it. What ideas could we have if we did another record, and that idea came up, and it sort of was shelved for a while, and then I guess after a while we kind of the idea came back, and then we sort of presented it to these the TV people, and they loved the idea, and they kind of took it, which was very strange. But I think it worked kind of well for us and them. It was definitely, we just wanted a bizarre experience, and we definitely got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fascinating watching, actually. And there is a lot of visual copy out there of you guys. So have you thought about doing a bit of a visual history of the band and including something like that in the DVD box set or something that could be streamed?
We're talking about doing something like that for our 25th anniversary next year.
Okay.
Because that's our 25th, so we're talking about hopefully doing something special for that. Yeah, we haven't sort of got around to organising it properly, but yeah, we may do something.
Sweet, yeah. Look, your videos have always been very engaging, particularly around the 2-playing era and a lot of the graphics, the computer-generated graphics that you were using around Unit.
Yeah, that was kind of fun at the time.
Yeah, well, it's all still there on YouTube for people to have a look at, and you've always put a lot of effort into every aspect of the band, which I think fans really appreciate.
Yeah, well, I think we kind of worked out fairly early on that we kind of control freaks. We kind of were getting people to make stuff and do artwork and stuff, and then we kind of didn't feel that it suited the band, so we ended up, a lot of the time we just take control and do everything ourselves, mostly, unless we find people that we really like Ben, who did the album cover and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting question for you then, because you mentioned it's a quarter of a century, mate. That's unbelievable, really, that you've had a successful career in the music biz, producing the music that you have that's gained such a positive fan response and also wonderful critical response. But what's the strangest thing that's happened to you in all of that time?
Oh, there's been a lot of strange things. We've had the strangest thing. Oh, God, there's been so many. We've had a lot of unusual gigs and found ourselves in a lot of bizarre circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
The ultimately strangest thing we found, I think touring in Japan was pretty out there. I mean, we found ourselves in a hotel room with this naked old lady kind of yelling at us, and we didn't know what was wrong with her. It was at this punk venue, and I think she might have been mentally ill, and she busted into our hotel room and was yelling at our manager about something, and we ended up running away into the night and not having anywhere to stay because this naked old lady chased us out of the hotel room. We don't know why, what happened there. That was definitely strange. I could put that.
Yeah, that's pretty full on, yeah.
Probably one of the strangest things, just, staggering around a city in the middle of the night with your guitars trying to find a hotel room because this naked lady kind of assaulted you. It's that was pretty weird.
Yeah, full on.
That's just one thing. Yeah.
What gives you the greatest sense of pride in your accomplishments through your career as well?
I think we always toured Japan, and we'd always loved the country. And when we finally got to play at Fuji Rock Festival in 2002, that felt like something we'd been working kind of by ourselves for a long time. And when it finally happened, we just, I don't know, it felt like a real accomplishment.
Great.
And we had a really good gig, and I don't know. Yeah, it was like a dream of ours, and when we finally got to do that, that was a big thrill. Yeah.
Hmm. What about cool. Martin? Is he still associated with the band in any way?
Not really, no. He's kind of doesn't really want anything to do with it anymore, which is a shame. But I feel like he was a big part of the band. But it was mainly Quan, and I guess Quan and Martin had a big bit of a falling out there, and then yeah.
Yeah, these things happen, don't they? I used to see him when I was down in Sydney walking around Ashfield Mall.
Oh, okay. What's he doing down there?
No idea. This is about, mate, this is 15, 16, 17 years ago or so. But I used to see him occasionally. I didn't know him, by the way, but of course I knew who you guys were, and a bit like how I knew who you were when we bumped into each other in LA. And I used to see him ordering a coffee every once in a while and talking to the guy in the record store there that used to be there.
Okay.
But yeah, I know I saw him in Sydney, and I thought, wow, he must be down here looking to get another band up off the ground. I don't think it was too long after he'd left you guys.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. I always thought he lived in either Brisbane or overseas. Yeah, I think he lives overseas in Mexico and Thailand or somewhere like that.
Oh,
now.
Wow. Okay. Globetrotter.
Yeah. Don't know. Yeah, I think he's out. I think he's got a recording studio or something. And
Sweet.
Yeah, he's doing good. I mean, I've seen him around, and he seems happy. Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah. Hey, Pangaea, for yourself, I understand it. Now, correct me if this story isn't correct, but that was the main gig for you back in the early 90s. And
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, and Regurgitator was a bit of a side band, and you showed your demo tape or something. I mean, I'll ask you to tell me the story, but if I recount it correctly from my reading of Rolling Stone, remember Juice magazine back in the day? I think I remember reading it in there, and one of the executives heard Regurgitator and said, we're not going to sign Pangaea now, we're actually going to sign Regurgitator. Is that story correct? Or
it is, yeah. So
there you go.
Kind of, it was a bit shocking for me because having to deal with it, I guess, but that's kind of what happened, yeah.
Because Pangaea is a bit of a Brisbane institution, isn't it? I mean, for people who
we got back together and did a gig last weekend, 2 weekends ago for the Dead of Winter Festival. So we actually played recently. We might do another gig at some point, but yeah.
How was the response? Were people of my vintage? Were they getting into it? The young ones?
A lot of people turned up and really dug it. A lot of young kids went, "What the hell is this? This is really weird." But it was good. Yeah, I had a good time.
Oh, wicked,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Good to get back together with those guys. They're really great players, and they've all, can still really play those guys.
Well, that was I watched. I used to watch you guys back in the day, and you were the first band that I saw that used to swap instruments. So you're a very good musician from the perspective that I'm pretty sure, mate. I saw you go plenty of times from the bass onto the drums. At gigging.
Oh, okay, yeah. I play drums a little bit. Yeah. I probably play bass the best, but yeah.
But that's a pretty bloody good skill to have, mate. Because I play bass and guitars as well, and drums is one thing that's escaped me. Keyboard's a little bit odd, but I have to really practice it. But you look like as though you were as adept as on both.
Not really. I wouldn't say I'm totally great on the drums, but yeah, I mean, I like to play. Yeah.
Are you still playing the Music Man bass with the yin and yang symbol on it?
No. I just play. I think I play a Fender now.
Right. Yeah. No, fair enough. Yeah. Oh, well, mate, that's about it for me in terms of questioning. Actually, I'll give you one more question. Going for 25 years, and you're not, with all due respect to say this, we're all approaching middle age, I get that, but you're not old by any measure. Are you guys just going to keep on going like a la the Rolling Stones, or what do you think the future holds for you?
I don't know. I think we'll probably get into doing different things. We're kind of recording a kids' album. We're going to get into doing that, and we'll probably get into doing a few different projects and seeing what takes. I don't know how long we'll play for, but as long as it feels good, and we all get along really well. So in the foreseeable future, I guess we'll keep playing just because, I don't know, we enjoy it.
Yeah, great to hear. Yeah. You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and that was my conversation with Ben Eli from the band Regurgitator. Thank you so much for listening.